Okay, so we are live. Welcome, everybody. It is Tuesday night, and it's 9 o'clock, so it must be time for 2A Tuesday. And this is Tuesday, May 21st. I had to check my watch because I don't even know what day it is. May 21st today. So we're going to finish up our discussion of the Bill of Rights tonight, and then moving forward in the next couple chats, we've got some big stuff in the works, so make sure you keep tuned in so nobody misses what's going to go on there. I know, Adam, it's okay though because it's fashionable, so don't worry about that. All right, Adam up there in the chat is saying that we're late, but that's okay because we're worth waiting for, so it's all good. We're going to give everybody a chance to say hi, and then before we get into the discussion, we are going to discuss the new addition to the Sandhills family here in a little bit, but we'll let everybody say hello here in our panel, and maybe we'll get a few more people joining as we go along here. But we've got a special guest we've never had before in the history of 2A Tuesday, Forklift Guy. And it's funny, he sounds a lot like somebody we know.
Well, you know, all this factory noise kind of distort any voice.
So we're going to treat you the same way we would treat Squibload if he was here, Forklift Guy. So we're just going to let you finish up work, and then we'll talk to you more when you are available.
Hey, thanks. You know, safety first on the job.
Safety first, that's right. And we are all about safety first. Okay, next up, we've got Frankie from Frankie's Guns and Glitter with us. What's going on?
Oh, nothing much. Just joined a pack of nerds here. So, candy, everybody. Make sure you eat your fill.
That's right. That's right. Gotta love those Wonka nerds. All right. Well, thanks for being here. And I didn't get to say hi because he jumped in here right as we were clicking the button to go live tonight. So, hi, Kingpin. What's up?
Not too much, man. Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
Sure. Thanks for being here. And then, of course, we've got Travis holding it down from the other side of the great state of Nebraska.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How we doing? Doing all right? And I appreciate the invite. Thank you so much. Yeah, guys, make sure you check out Caliber Corner Thursday nights, 5 to 7 Central, 6 to 8 East Coast time over there on gunchannels.com. And make sure that you support guntube.org.
Absolutely support that. And out there in the chat, hey, Jason, thanks for checking out my hat. This is actually new. It's not my normal one. Underneath my patch panel. Forklift Guy's going to love this. Look at that. It's a Glock Perfection hat underneath the Get Off My Lawn patch. So, and Adam says to make sure that the safety first rule applies to Travis. But what Adam doesn't know is that Travis's middle name is Safety. It's actually Travis Safety P11. That's his whole name.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, my mom used to call me Drop Safety. I don't know why, but yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
All right. So if you follow us on Facebook, or if you happen to catch the picture that we put up on YouTube here when we made the picture post here a while ago today, then you know what's going to happen before we get into the discussion. Two things are going to happen. The first thing that's going to happen is we're going to say hello to our neighbor from the south. What's up, Gizzard Gary?
Hey, thanks for the invite, man. Sorry I'm late.
That's okay. We're all a little late. Adam Jimenez out there has been making sure that we're aware that we didn't go live right at 9 o'clock like we were supposed to.
Oh, no.
I know. Well, and we've also got Obnoxious One joining us. What's going on?
Nothing. I just came in to get my plugs in, and then I'm going to hop over to 2A. Oh, wait a minute. That's what I did to Night Strike. Never mind.
Oh, my God.
Wow. I can't believe that I'm rolling Night Strike without even being there. That was awesome.
Low blow.
That was cool.
Yeah, I came down and was opened my email, and I saw your link there, and I saw the Night Strike was still live, so I figured, what the heck, I'd jump into his and get my plugs and then jump over to here.
Well,
You did a hit and run.
Yes, I did a hit and run on Hit or Miss.
that was
Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock.
We're going to call it a hit. Thanks for being there. Okay, so you guys have seen the picture, and some of you have even seen the picture of what's inside here, but we're going to show it off. And Sandhills Sweetheart does not want to be the one to show this to everybody, so I'm going to do the honors, even though we bought this for her. It is not for me, although and we haven't shot it yet. But I got a sneaking suspicion that I'm going to want one when we do. So we may be having 2 of these in the house. So
Is it a Q5 match steel frame?
it is not a Q5 at all. It is not a steel frame at all.
Oh.
However, it is. Get the stupid chamber flag out of here. It is the PPQ, just the regular polymer frame PPQ, 4-inch barrel, because that's going to lend itself better to concealed carry. We are clear. This is a really cool gun. It feels good, and I've been saying that for a long time to anybody that'll listen. But when I wrap my hand around this grip, it just feels right. Better than anything else that I think that we have right now in the house. But we're gonna go out and do some testing when the first day that we actually get a chance to take this to the range, and we've got the Talon grips for it as well. Right here, we haven't put them on yet, so we're going to do a little before and after testing of the Talon grips, and we'll both shoot this the way it is, just out of the factory, with just the regular texturing that's in the grip here, and then we'll apply the Talon grips and see after that if the next time we shoot it, if it makes any improvement, so that we can get that all into a video. But this is the new addition to the family. 2 15-round magazines, and then it comes with the medium back strap installed, but it's also got the large and the small back straps available. You just have to drive this roll pin out right down here, and then this should pop right out, and we can change those out. But we might not even have to do that. It fits pretty well. And then you saw that it's got a chamber flag. It also comes with a nice little loading tool. If you haven't already got an Uplula, then that's not so bad for loading, but Uplulas just work a little better in my opinion, so we'll keep using that. But that's the new baby. That's the PPQ. So now you guys all got to see that. We'll clean my mess up later. All right, so nobody else has joined us in the panel, and this might be all we get for a while. We'll see what happens and say hi to people as they come through. But real quick, let's just go through and see who's out in the chat tonight. Over on Gun Channels, we've got David Bowling out there. We've got Gung Ho out there. I've never had a G.I. Joe member actually in the chat before, so that's very cool. Gung Ho 1345. I like it. Say hello to some of my favorite Joes ever. Of course, General Hawk, Snake Eyes, and Storm Shadow were always my 2 favorites. So, but Roadblock's cool too. All right, not the travesties from the movies either. Okay, so out there in the YouTube chat, we had Stephen Brown saying hello from Oklahoma. First off, we had 7 Wonders up there. Frankie is there and here. Sandhills Sweetheart's out in the chat, and of course she is just off to my left, your right, off the camera there, holding it down on her computer. We've got Jason Stewart out there. We've got Adam Jimenez. We've got Rich Parth. Freedom for All. Stan is here. SS Pond, Lexington, Nebraska, is out here. Calaveras is out there too. Who else do we have? 2 Live Moo is in the house. We've got Josieola, Gun Loving Grandpa, Midnight Range, Tim Foley. Who am I missing? Gung Ho 1345 is out there in the chat as well. And that might be, Kinky Sphincters here, because that's fun to say. The Gun Snob, 50 Cal, Rob D, 7 Kinky Wonders. Gizzard Gary's out there and in here. Zippy is in the house. And, geez, there's all kinds of people joining now. If you're out there listening, make a comment. Oh, wow. This just refreshed on me. Ghost is in the house. And that might be it for now. Travis T, I see you out there too. Okay, if you're watching on YouTube and you're not commenting, we don't know you're here. So say hi, let us know that you're around. If you're out there on Gun Channels watching, we can see you. We know where you live. We'll be there shortly. No, I'm just kidding. We've also got Gizzard out there saying hi as well. So, all right, we're going to get into this chat. We're going to finish up the Bill of Rights tonight. and that way we can move on to some of the other stuff that we've got planned in future weeks. So I don't think it's going to take super long to get through all these tonight, so that might give us just some time to kind of recap or go back over comments on any of the rest of the amendments as well. But we're going to pick up where we left off. Last week we got all the way through Amendment 6, and we're ready to start, obviously, on number 7. For those of you who can count without taking off your shoes, we're up to 7 now. So, all right. In suits at common law, where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of the common law. So basically, it sounds to me like if we are discussing something more than the value of $20, you can have it heard by a jury, not just the judge. And then once it's ruled upon by a jury trial, you can't go back and take it back to court other than through the rules of the common law, which would be appeals, things like that. So I think it's kind of pretty well straightforward. That was just mostly thrown into the Bill of Rights just to make sure that we didn't have things tied up in court over and over and over again, I think was the biggest thing there, so that we didn't have squabbles going on and tying up the court systems. Anybody have anything they want to mention on the 7th Amendment?
$20 in 1791.
That was still a lot of money then, huh?
Yeah. So like $20 now. So if you don't give me my pack of cigarettes in Chicago, I demand a trial by jury.
Wow, yeah. It's crazy how that actual value was listed in the Constitution like that. I don't know what the conversion is or how to adjust for inflation.
I just did it.
Did you?
Yeah.
So what's that dollar equivalent today, Travis?
I'm showing $543.
Okay, so that's not so bad. If we could just say roughly $500, which
Really?
that's about what small claims court, isn't it? 500 or is it 1,000?
Small claims you can go up to 5,000, I believe,
Or is that
2,500.
does that vary from state to state? Maybe.
It may depend on.
I don't know how that works. I have not spent very much time in courtrooms, thank goodness.
Yeah, it says the average inflation rate was 1.46% per year on average from 1791 to now, and that's 2,618% higher. That dollar amount I told you, the 500 something dollar, the 543 versus what it was originally, the $20 back in the day.
Okay. So yeah, that's kind of neat to know. I don't think I would ever have known that if we weren't going over this amendment. So, all right. Does anybody have anything that they want to mention? And I'm not able to follow the chat when I'm talking. You guys all know this. So if there's questions or comments out in the chat, somebody holler them out to me, or I'll get Sandhills Sweetheart to just read the question out loud, and I think the microphone should pick her up over there. But I don't think we're going to spend a whole lot of time on Amendment 7. It's pretty well cut and dried. What do you guys think? And ladies, think?
Yeah, I think it's cut and dry.
Actually, I just got off the phone. I had a phone call, so I'm just double checking it right now to see what it says. So,
okay.
Right about your own.
See how you are.
Yeah,
You think that when the phone rings, was it Mrs. P11?
Yeah, she was checking in.
Okay, then I'm okay with her being more important than us.
Oh man, come on. Yeah, I try. I try to split my time between you and the wife. You know what?
Did you answer the phone and be like, "Hello, honey, you do realize that I'm busy right now. We're on 2A Tuesday. Can you call back later?"
I told her I'm trying to preserve freedom, and she wanted to know, should she go to DQ or should she go to Culver's? Man, I said, why are you asking me this? Because I don't know. You make the decision. I'm like, really?
Is she looking for food or ice cream?
Ice cream.
Well, does she want to eat now or does she want to eat 20 minutes from now?
In the end, it didn't matter because she went to Freddy's anyway. I don't know why she even asked me. I mean, seriously, it's like this dress or this dress. Okay, I'll just go put this on. I'm like,
Put jeans on. Okay.
What? You know, my answer doesn't matter.
Speaking of this, and I know we're getting off subject, but
Yeah, we're really far from the
I
Constitution.
saw a
I'm sorry,
fun
guys.
meme this week, and it made me think of my wife.
Uh-oh.
And I mean, you guys should see how she shoots. I'm probably signing my own death warrant just by telling this story. So if there's no 2A Tuesday next week, it's because my mouth got me in trouble. But I saw this meme, and it said it showed a woman sitting on death row, and the guard is standing outside the cell asking, "What would you like your last meal to be?" And she says, "I don't know. What do you want?"
Oh, damn. Wow.
There's so much truth in that.
Those of you who have wives understand that. Those of you who are wives, I'm sorry, but it's true for a lot of you. So, Frankie, we're not going to put you on the spot. You don't have to comment.
Well, here's the thing. I get home after my husband does, so I'm always the person that's gonna pick up the food, and I ask him, "What do you want to eat?" And he's like, "I don't know. What do you want to eat?"
So it's Rob that's doing it in your house.
And I'm like, "You need to tell me where to go because I can't make up my mind." But here's the bad part of all of that. When he goes to his second job and I'm on my own, then I really don't know what to eat.
You know what's fun? Once you pick a place, what's really fun is when you walk in there and you stand there staring at that menu for 10 minutes, and then you order the same stinking thing every time anyway. But every time I go in there, I look at that menu thinking, well, maybe I'm going to get something different, and then I don't ever get anything different. So I don't know why.
Well, and see, I'm gonna let everybody in on a little secret here. I mean, aside from Kingpin, I think he's a pretty slender guy, and forklift guy is, well, he's a forklift, so it really doesn't matter. But 4 people on this panel are a little fluffy, and we don't care where we're getting food from. We just want the food. So,
yeah, because every restaurant in town has something that I'm going to eat, and you just tell me which restaurant, and I'll tell you what I want from there.
or just bring me something,
Or
and I'll eat it.
You know,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
triggered.
kinda
I'm
right.
husky. I'm not fluffy. My mom always used the term husky because that's where the jeans were at Kmart. So, you know, if we could
That
get
was
away from the fluffy thing, you know.
because she was your mom. There are no safe places here, so deal with it.
I'm just messing with you, dude. It's
I
all good.
like to tell people that I'm not fat. I'm comfy. And
Yeah,
if you
I
ever-
celebrate my tactical muffin top.
If you ever hug me, you'll understand what I mean when I
Yes.
say I'm comfy.
Yes.
My wife likes to sit next to me on the couch and watch TV and just lean up against me because I'm inviting. So, but you have to fight. Yeah,
and
that's her
warm.
spot too.
And
Anybody
warm,
that wants
too.
a hug, and I'm warm, but anybody that wants a hug has
Yeah.
to fight her for her spot because she's usually in that spot. So, all right. So, anyway, let's get back to the Bill of Rights here. Does anybody have anything more to talk about the 7th Amendment? And gung ho, just so you know, I do see your question out there. We will talk about that. I will have Sandhills sweetheart remind me once we're done with the 10th Amendment. We'll go back and we'll go around the horn and talk about that. So I see your comment out there. He wants to know what everybody's EDC is on the panel. So we'll be talking about that for those of us who don't live in oppressive states and actually have such a thing. And David, I know you have everyday carry. It's just not a firearm. So we'll get you involved in there too. Okay, so Amendment 8, let's move on here. And this one I think is probably going to be what we talk about the longest out of any of these amendments, and it's actually the shortest one. I think it's the shortest one on the whole list, honestly, in number of words. But Amendment 8, excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. So I kind of figured that we might get into talking about cruel and unusual punishment a little bit.
It kind of bothers me that it's so vague because what's considered excessive? You know, I mean, is that because they want to leave it up to the states to determine what they thought would be excessive for their given environment?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'm not a law student, so I think we need to. We would need a lawyer to really get into this, and probably a constitutional lawyer at that. But I think the reason it's set like that is because if you are in prison, for a crime where bail can be set, and then somebody sets the bail at $10 million. Well, why bother setting bail at $10 million? There's no way I'm going to pay even 10% of that. So there's no need. I'm just going to have to sit in the cell until my trial.
Yeah.
I think it's maybe to avoid some of that. Because again, remember that these folks that built the Constitution and wrote all these down, they had just come from a government where if the king didn't like it, then you could be thrown in jail. And again, you didn't get the right to a speedy trial. You didn't have any rights.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is all stuff that I think they wanted to see done differently than where they came from. They didn't want to be have people sitting in jail for long periods of time. And if bail is an option, then it's got to be something that's actually attainable, I think is what they meant.
Yeah.
Same thing with excessive fines. That's why you don't see, if a crime is punishable by a fine, you don't see a fine of $10 million for something, unless it actually is restitution. But the cruel and unusual punishments, now none of them are listed. Why do you guys think that no punishments are actually banned in the Constitution? Just a blanket cruel and unusual is prohibited.
Because level of crimes were all over the place.
Okay.
I didn't know in the future how bad or how good it could get, so perhaps they couldn't stipulate that.
Well, and I was thinking about this today. Some of the methods we have today of administering the death penalty, like lethal injection, which, I mean, if I was ever to be put to death, I would much prefer lethal injection over any other method. But, the founding fathers had no idea that one day we'd have the technology to put somebody to sleep and then give them a drug after that would stop their heart, right? And so, because of things like lethal injection, some of the other methods that we used to use have been taken away and actually deemed cruel and unusual now because we've got better methods. So some states still have the electric chair, some don't. I believe Texas used to hang people until recently, and I think that's changed. I mean, a lot of these methods, as we change our technology, some of the older options aren't as good anymore. So I think maybe that's part of it.
Yeah.
But at that, I mean, cruel and unusual, I don't know what level the court has to determine that either. Is it state Supreme Court? I don't know even where we go to decide what is cruel and unusual, what is not.
Again, you're going to be looking at precedent that's been set by prior cases, and luckily we've got that history, so you don't get those cruel and unusual punishments because of what's been litigated, what's been determined, what's been evaluated, what's been stated. Yeah, I mean, it's very vague, but I mean, it is for a reason when you think about it.
Mm-hmm. Night Strike's out there in the chat saying he thinks the firing squad and hanging would be cheaper than lethal injection. Well, that's probably true. I have heard the argument, and I've actually heard the argument presented with numbers that have shown how states without a death penalty actually save money on certain criminals versus the states with a death penalty because of the lengthy appeals process and things like that. So that can be, I'm for the death penalty no matter whether it's cheaper or not, because I think that certain crimes deserve loss of life. But I can understand when that argument is presented, and the cost of keeping an inmate for life in prison versus the cost of appeal after appeal after appeal. Yeah, I mean, I can see how that can cost the state more. Real quick, it's been brought to my attention, and I did see it, and I didn't mention it. Adam Jimenez dropped a $5 super chat. He says, so it seems Travis is a newlywed if he still thinks his opinion matters.
Yeah, no, I'm still asked for my opinion. I think it's just a courtesy thing. But in the end, she still makes whatever decision she wants.
Right. And Adam also says, keep up the great work, and also that I'm going to be in a body cast for my joke. The thing is, Adam, Travis is not a newlywed.
No.
If he still thinks his opinion matters. But what happens is Travis and Mrs. Travis are doing the long distance work thing right now. And I know this isn't a secret anymore because Travis.
No, I've been public about it.
You've been public about it on your channel, but Travis
she's got guns. She can protect herself.
Heck yeah,
she's got lots of guns actually. So and she's a better shot than I am. So really,
But she's working in a different town now, and eventually Travis is going to be moving. But in the meantime, she got a job in a different town, and so she's there now, and they don't get to spend as much time together except for on the phone, except for over the weekends. So,
well, with my job, I'll have more free time, but I still have a lot of stuff I do over the summer nonetheless. So,
right, exactly.
How long have you been married, Travis?
We're coming up on 15 years in November.
You're a newlywed.
Oh man, come on! I've outlasted all my friends except for one.
we just had our 27th.
Ooh, dang! Nice.
Congratulations!
I've been married longer than probably some of the people in the audience are alive.
Been alive.
Even somebody in the chat. So yeah, or in the panel here. Yep, exactly. Okay, so cruel and unusual. Anybody have anything else they want to say on that?
I just wonder if we have a lot of appeals in general because somebody feels like their punishment's cruel and unusual, like they are able to appeal it to the next level because they can plead that amendment applies to them.
It's a great question. I don't think I've ever heard about that.
Like you get busted for, I'm thinking of like a minor drug charge, like a pot charge. You end up getting like 5 years in prison because of it. Well, you could feel that that's unusual. Well, it wouldn't be unusual because they would look at past precedent to see what's happened in other cases to help influence what's going to happen and what you're going to get,
But that's a great point is that, life in prison for a marijuana charge, less than an ounce or something. Yeah, that would be.
And then people aren't going to get that, but I'm sure there's people that feel that there's certain drug charges that are unusual because it's a minor this or minor that, but you get so many years based on how much you have on you, or, versus somebody who does something more severe that's a felon that gets less time. You hear about stuff like that all the time, like somebody that kills somebody, they end up getting out after 15 years or 20 years or whatever. They didn't get that fit punishment, whereas somebody else might get a harsher punishment and they can appeal saying it's cruel and unusual. I'm sure their attorneys advise them and say, well, you can plead it, but they're going to pull off a past precedent that's going to say that's fit for what you did,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Or
I'm not saying this isn't perfect. Me, it's perfectly written, but it still leaves a lot of windows open for a lot of just red tape that you're going to run into in the criminal justice system.
It does. And potentially it does open the window up, though, to where a judge might rule that sentence is cruel and unusual, and maybe they would get it, based on past precedent or whatever, that maybe that person would get a reduced sentence or something like that. So,
yep.
All right. Okay. Anybody else have anything they want to add to the 8th Amendment?
I'll say this. I'm pro death penalty, and I don't care if they get hung, electrocuted, guillotined, whatever. Look, I'm more concerned about the person who has to carry out the death sentence, that they have to deal with the fact that even though they're following the law and this is a scumbag and needs to be put down, they still are killing somebody and they've got to live with that. So when they have these executions, anything they can do to mechanize it or to make it where no one person does it, or they're not sure which one actually, fired the live round or whatever it is, I think that helps. But, I've heard people say, let's bring back public hangings. And the upside to that is it would be so shocking that it might convince some people maybe not to commit crime because they don't want to be publicly hung in front of their neighborhood. But at a certain point, I think we would become desensitized to it, and people might actually be looking forward to seeing a hanging. So there's two sides of it.
They always
You
used
know,
to, didn't they? I mean,
well,
a public hanging back in the day would bring people from miles and miles and miles.
it would. The morbid curiosity and everything else. Plus, they wanted to see the bad guy get put down.
Mm-hmm.
And if they spit on him on their way to the gallows or threw rotten fruit at him or, whatever, that's what, I mean, unless this person was wrongfully, tried, if it was, absolutely, and I'm sure one in every so many, somebody was wrongfully accused of something and got put to death. But for the most part, you got rid of bad trash. And I know that sounds cold and blah, 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 but for what it costs to put them in prison and all the appeals they get and everything else, and at the end of the day, some of these people want to go back to prison. They like the lifestyle there. And, it's just, I don't know. I guess if we get rid of the death penalty altogether, then we get rid of it altogether. But if we keep it, or we say, we are going to go back to some older, less civilized means just for the shock value, I'm not totally opposed to it. I just think that the person who typically wouldn't commit a crime, the person that screws up here or there, gets hit hard. And this is the kind of person that can't handle prison, doesn't want to go to prison, doesn't want to give up their freedom. And then you've got the repeat offenders that they don't care. Is that the best you can do? I could do 2 years standing on my head or whatever it is. They just don't care. So unfortunately, do you up the, that's why I'm not opposed to chain gangs either. Somebody might call that cruel. And no way. Chain them together and have them pick up all the trash on the highway, stuff like that. So I know there's some people out there that might agree, and there's other people that go, oh, that's just so barbaric. Whatever. And for the people that are wrongfully accused, there's such a small percentage, so.
I know. Okay, now 2 things out here in the chat. Midnight Range TM is saying that if there were more cruel and unusual punishments, maybe it would curb crime a little bit, which is kind of what you're saying, I think, too, as well. So, yeah, that's a potential. Now, on the other hand, Dead Horse, hi, Dead Horse. Dead Horse says it is better for 1,000 guilty men to go free than one innocent man be imprisoned. Change my mind. And I can't argue with that either. In fact, our justice system is designed so that we would rather let a guilty man walk than punish an innocent man or person, I should say. But that is how our system is.
But
is
Dead
designed.
Horse, this goes right back into what we were talking about before about holding these judges to bear the responsibility if they let these guys walk and then they go right and turn right around and commit another crime or something like that. So I get where you're going with that. It's kind of along the lines of what we were talking about before, and I don't want to see anybody innocent go to jail. But I mean, 1,000 to 1, man, those are pretty tough odds to justify it.
But I see where he's coming from too, because yeah, we want to make sure beyond reasonable doubt, right?
Yeah.
That that someone is guilty if we're going to convict them of a crime. And so and that's we could have a whole different discussion there as far as burden of proof and everything else. That's another red flag topic because that places the burden of proof on the defense as opposed to the prosecution where it should rest. But yeah, great stuff out in the chat as far as the discussion goes. It's not an easy black and white topic. It's not an easy black and white answer, I don't think. So many things aren't, and that's why I just sit in awe of not only the hindsight but also the foresight of the founding fathers. And just the things that they had seen and the things that they wanted to avoid, along with the things that they wanted to ensure with our government. So it's kind of cool just to sit back and realize that these guys were no dummies. So, all right. Anything else before we move over to the 9th Amendment? Gary Kingpin, obnoxious? Anything you want to throw in
Yeah.
there?
I'm good, man.
Nope. Other than, I agree with your wife that these punishments should happen a lot sooner, especially in the face of overwhelming evidence. And if this I saw him shoot the guy, and we're still going to have a trial for it, and then he's found guilty because 18 people saw him shoot the guy, and then we're going to have the trial, and he's going to sit on death row for 20 years, and we're going to have a bunch of appeals, and then we're going to put him to death.
Right. Incidentally, Dead Horse is explaining that the better to let a thousand guilty men go free is a quote from Benjamin Franklin, who we all can agree was very intelligent and a patriot.
Yes, but Benjamin Franklin wanted the turkey to be the national bird. So
I didn't say every decision
why
he made
not?
was great.
Why not have one of the most delicious birds out there as your national bird?
Yes, but then you couldn't eat it. You couldn't eat it.
Oh crap! Never mind. No,
Yeah,
we can't have that.
Then you have bald eagles
absolutely
for
not.
Thanksgiving dinner. You want bald eagles for Thanksgiving dinner?
I've never eaten bald eagle. I can't say that it. If it were legal to do so, I would try it. I bet it tastes like chicken.
Legal eagle.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Tastes like chicken?
So
Really?
all right. So yeah.
Really?
I had some chicken the other day. Tasted just like bald eagle. Didn't understand.
Tastes like freedom. That's what the bald eagle tastes like.
Chicken tastes like frog legs.
Okay,
dear.
so if Ben Franklin said it, that does give it a lot more credibility than if Dead Horse said it. But yeah, it's kind of hard to fight with Uncle Ben.
Oh dear. Yes. So there. That just puts a big old exclamation point on the quote. All right, let's move along before we start a feud here. Amendment 9. This is about the enumeration of rights. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. So just because the Constitution and specifically the Bill of Rights definitely state that certain rights can't be taken away, doesn't mean that those are the only rights that can't be taken away, is what that is saying to me. Anybody read anything or hear anything different in that?
Nope, but this is possibly the best amendment in the Constitution. Now, I realize we got, amendment number 2, but this one may be the absolute, this and number 10 may be the best 2 amendments in the Bill of Rights.
All right. And why do you say that?
Because this one says that just because we didn't have the chance to think about it while we were doing all these other amendments doesn't mean you don't have these rights.
Mm-hmm.
Because we thought of a lot of stuff, but we didn't think of everything. And we're smart enough to know that we're dumb enough not to think of everything.
And if you look at the way they worded it, it's not that in the future you'll be granted these rights. It's that in the future these rights won't be taken away, meaning it's a pre-existing clause. So I think it's good that they wrote it that way instead of the other way around, because the popular misconception is that these rights are granted to us, and it's like, no, this is about the government not being able to take what we already have.
Exactly. And that's what we have all argued, I think, at some point or to some level about the Second Amendment, is the Constitution does not give us the right to keep and bear arms. The Constitution says we are human beings. We have rights, and you cannot take away our right to be armed. That's what it says. And yeah, you're exactly right. All right, I had to throw that out there. All right, anybody have anything else they want to mention on the enumeration of rights? Going once, going twice. Let's move into the final amendment on the Bill of Rights. Number 10, and Obnoxious also thinks that this one is also one of the most important ones, so I'm going to go to you here in a second. I'll read this off. It says, the power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. So obnoxious, again, let's get your take on what that means.
Rights travel upward. They start with the people. The people have every right. The state has rights related to the state. And the federal government has rights after the people and the states. So your right,
Man, that's it right there.
rights travel upwards. You know, like rolls downhill. Well,
Yeah.
rights roll uphill. Sorry, you know, liberals. That's just the way it is, and it works for you just as well as it works for me. It works for libertarians and socialists that want to be socialists that have lived their whole life in, you know, a capitalist country and think that socialism is the right way to go. Rights travel upward.
They're not given by the government.
No, they're given by your creator or your maker, if you choose to believe that, or by the virtue of you being born. Yes. You have rights. The state has no rights. The government has no rights. The people have the rights.
So just like the United States is its own sovereign nation, and nobody can tell us what to do because we are our own country. So the United States sovereignty is here. And we're made up of 50 individual sovereign states who have their own rights. And the states are made up.
Are you going to say sovereign citizens? Please say sovereign citizens.
And the states are made up of people who have rights given by the creator who are sovereign.
Am I being detained?
Not yet.
Not right now. Maybe Thursday.
There you go.
Either Thursday or Saturday, you might be, but not right now. But no, I agree with you. I 100% agree. That's exactly what that says. It says that, and honestly, I know we've talked about this in weeks past in here on this Bill of Rights chat, but just to kind of recap, the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and all the amendments, not just the first 10, but the Constitution and its amendments do not govern, or I shouldn't say govern, but the Constitution was not designed to limit the citizens. The Constitution was designed to limit the government. And I think too many people lose track of that and get it flipped backwards. And they think that the Constitution was put in place to limit the power of the people, when in reality it was put in place to limit the power of the government. So all right, before we get into the EDC question, let's just open this up, all 10 amendments. If anybody doesn't remember what a specific one was, I'll read it to you. But does anybody have anything to say as far as the panel about any of the first 10 amendments of the Constitution?
I'd like to ask Obnoxious if he thinks the 10th Amendment guarantees states' rights.
Yes, if they don't belong to the citizens.
And they don't trump federal law.
Well, okay, and that's how it's worded.
You're getting
any power that's not listed by the Constitution, as long as it's not prohibited by the Constitution, is the state's right to have the power, or to the people. That's how I read it. Now, what's your take, Squib?
I think, are you getting it like federal law and why states should be restricted by federal law?
No, I hear a lot of people today bellyaching about we need states' rights. States' rights are important. States' rights, states' rights, states' rights. But in 1860, we fought a war because people were saying states' rights are wrong. States' rights are bad. So what changed? And if it was in the Constitution, why was the war fought at all?
Because
the states' rights were
infringing
on the people's rights to be their own sovereign citizen at that point.
The federal
I
government.
know they weren't all citizens at that point, but go ahead, David.
The federal government was set up to unify all the 50 states. And the reason that states' rights didn't count for the Civil War is because the Union was falling apart. That's why states' rights were trumped. And it wasn't necessarily states' rights that were being trumped. It was expansion of slavery. The southern states were going to be able to keep their slaves. Another concession that the North was making to keep the Union together. But that's why the states' rights were getting trumped, if that's the way you want to put it, is because the Union was being broken apart. The same reason federal law trumps state law is for national security and sovereignty of the nation.
Well, and the states all signed on to when the original states ratified the Constitution, which had the laws, had some laws in it, and gave some of those state powers to the federal government. That was what they signed on to when they joined the Union. And then every state since then has been the same thing. They've signed on to the Union, so they have abdicated some of their rights to the federal government. Now, no person born in the United States has ever abdicated their right to any of the rights that they were born with. Well, I shouldn't say that, because some people probably have. But you get what I'm saying. The states to join the Union.
The states have their own rights, but they don't have complete and total decision to determine what their rights are under the Constitution, and there are things that are prohibited by the states. So the way I read it, if it's listed in the Constitution as something that is not legal to do in this country, the state can't override that and say, well, just because Nebraska wants to do it, we're going to go ahead and ignore the cruel and unusual punishment part. That's where so many people, I think, get upset in Second Amendment discussions, is because states that restrict carry or restrict taking your gun outside your house or something like that, that is in direct violation of the Second Amendment. That is an infringement of my rights. And the Constitution says the state cannot take away rights from me that are guaranteed by the federal government. I think that's kind of what that means. It's not saying that the states have rights to do whatever they want to do. The states have rights to do whatever they want to do with the stuff that's not listed in the Constitution of the United States, I think is what it really means. And the same thing trickles back downhill on this, that if there's something that's not illegal, then it's that if there's something that's not listed as it's against the law, then there's no law against it, then you can do it as a person. So there's no law against what was I just trying to think of? There was just something, and it's a gun law that isn't discussed in Nebraska, but because there's no law against it, that means it's not prohibited. Can't think of what it was now. I'll have to come up with that later. But
And
The NFA stuff, was it? That was in Nebraska?
now you got me thinking.
no, because that's Missouri. Oh man, we've just had this discussion. I had it with somebody recently. I don't remember if it was online or not. But there was something that Nebraska law doesn't discuss, which means it's not illegal. And I know it was
something with transportation, maybe, or what? Like, no,
I wish I knew what it was now.
it'll come back to you.
Yeah, tomorrow or the next day when this is long gone.
Text me. I'm really curious.
Well, it might have been you that I was talking to about it. Even it might have been something on Caliber Corner, even just because with laws and whatnot.
Yeah.
As far as whatever. I don't remember what the specific topic was that I'm trying to come up with, but anything that's not listed as against the law in your state, then you can't be arrested for it, no matter who doesn't like it. It's kind of like if you live out in the country and you're outside city limits, there's no noise ordinance in your county, you've got plenty of land, you're being safe, and you want to shoot on your property, and your neighbor a half mile down the road doesn't like to hear it, too bad. There's no law against being able to shoot on the property So therefore, you have the right to do it. I think is what it comes down to. And the Constitution guarantees that if it's not prohibited, that makes it legal. I think that's what it says.
Maybe it was shooting range stuff, like not having a right to shoot your firearm because of noise or something. Noise ordinance or something. I can't remember what it was. Like they can complain about it all they want. I don't know, man.
I just got a note that says open carry, but I don't know what you're asking me, so you can talk. You have words?
I think it has to do with the Nebraska law that you were talking about.
But what about open carry?
I don't remember.
I don't
we
either.
talked about
In
it.
Pennsylvania, open carry is legal because it's not illegal. Maybe that's the same thing in Nebraska. There's no law prohibiting it, therefore it's legal by default.
It could very well be that, Squib. It might be that, or something to do with it, because it's not specifically listed in Nebraska that you can carry. It's an open carry state, but that means that since it's not addressed, it's not illegal. It's gonna bother me. I'm gonna have to look it up. Does anybody have anything that they want to discuss or bring up while I am checked out for a second looking this up?
Alexa, what law in Nebraska is?
No, I think we should all just sit here quietly and wait for you to find it.
Just
Dead
wait.
Space. Yeah.
I just want to remind
my
everybody.
Alexa.
I just want to remind everybody that if you're ever wondering about the 10th Amendment, just think about mystery spots.
Think about what?
Mystery spots. Like they got out in Black Hills, where the ball rolls uphill and the water runs uphill. And the 10th Amendment is like a mystery spot.
That nobody can explain why it is the way it is?
And that the rights run uphill.
Okay.
That
That's an interesting way to tie those together.
I'm just trying to make it fun and kill your.
I'd say a mystery spot is that place where you do all those Instagram pictures. I really think it's more than a koi pond. I don't care what you say.
It's not even a koi pond now. Now it's just a little man-made pond.
Oh,
and
no, the water flows uphill where those stainless steel cigs sit.
If it wants to get to them, drawn to them.
Right on.
No, I was just trying to do something fun and have a little bit of fun while I was killing your dead air. But if you want dead air, we'll just.
I don't want dead air. I just wasn't really sure where you were going with that.
Neither was I, honestly. No, I thought Nebraska had the. Wasn't that in Nebraska where the guys were making the suppressors and?
No, that's Kansas.
Was it Kansas?
That's in Kansas, where if they're made in Kansas, sold in Kansas, and have never crossed the state line, they're not subject to the interstate commerce law, nor are they subject to NFA then.
Is that legit? Is that real?
Yeah, now, I mean, how do you guys feel about that? Or what's your opinion on that?
I think it's wonderful. I think we need that in every state. I think we should set a precedent so every state can do that.
Okay, but where does it stop?
It's still in litigation, though, right now, I think. Gary,
what if they said... Well, yeah, but what if Kansas printed its own money and said as long as it doesn't leave Kansas, it's...
How is that different than you and me trading baseball cards?
I can buy bucks that are local currency that I can spend here in town.
Yeah, how is that different?
And they're making up their own currency that I can spend at stores here in this town.
If you and I are neighbors, if Travis and I, because we're both in the same state, if I've got a super valuable Mickey Mantle rookie card or something like that, I don't know baseball card values, but I know that one is up there. And I use that as currency instead of cash to buy something from Travis. Then that's not illegal.
I was trying to think of something that's covered by a federal law. I mean, we all use the same money. Yeah. Stamps cost the same at the post office. You can drive from state to state with an out-of-state license and an out-of-state license plate and blah, blah, blah. There's certain standards that are the same across the country, and they need to be uniform in order to maintain order and commerce and safety and everything else for the general overall good of the nation. However, I can see how they're saying if it's made here, bought here, and never leaves here, what's the harm? And I was trying to think of something else on a federal level that is regulated or prohibited or something like that. And money was the first thing to come to mind. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not against it or for it. I just wondered what other people thought of it. I'm not talking about from the cool, we can have suppressors. Take that out of the equation. Look at it like you're a lawyer.
Okay, let's look at this and on things that other states have done. And the big push now is for marijuana. And everybody's saying, "Oh, that's a state's right. That's state's rights." And everybody on the left is going, "Oh yeah, that's a state's right. That's if the state thinks that they want to legalize marijuana, well, that's the state's right." Well, suppressors in Kansas are marijuana.
Okay, obnoxious. That's good enough for me. That explains it. All right.
Yes.
I follow you now.
Yes, I convinced Squib. My job here is done. I will see you guys later.
I needed an analogy that kind of, fit into the whole, let's not look at it as guns are cool. Let's look at it as guns don't matter. Let's look at the law. So,
I found it.
Uh-oh.
Thanks everybody for filling my dead air.
And we accomplished something.
We're all going to grow pot now. Oh, wait a minute.
And protect it with our suppressors.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'm in for the suppressors. I'm not in for the pot. But what you do at your home, I don't really care.
Personal preference, baby. Wait a minute, what?
Okay, in Nebraska, and this is regarding carrying in a vehicle.
Yeah.
And now let me preface this with, in Nebraska, you can open carry in a vehicle. You don't need a concealed carry permit if any part of the handgun is visible. Then it's not concealed. So, like, I've got a vehicle holster that is mounted to the center console by my knee, and I can put a pistol in that, and it's still visible. I mean, it's not readily visible from every angle, but it's not concealed because it's not covered up. If it was in the glove box, that's concealed. That requires a carry permit, and everybody in the vehicle needs to have a carry permit to be compliant in Nebraska if it's in the glove box. But if you've got it in a holster or something like that, lying out in the open on the seat, on the dash, what have you, which is dumb because it's not secured, but then that is legal in Nebraska without a permit. Now, Nebraska law is silent on loaded firearms in a vehicle. You do have to have a permit or license valid in Nebraska to carry a concealed firearm in or outside a vehicle. It is illegal to carry a loaded shotgun in a vehicle under Nebraska game laws. You can carry a loaded handgun in a vehicle without a permit if it is visible. Some cities have ordinance against loaded visible handguns in vehicles without a permit. So again, that the state of Nebraska has let certain municipalities have their own laws. And every time we introduce a preemption bill in the unicameral, it gets shot down. We don't know why, because people in Lincoln apparently are dumb in the Capitol. But it is very confusing to live in Lincoln and work in Omaha, or live in Omaha and work in Lincoln, and all the different jurisdictions you drive through with your gun. You've got to know the laws for every jurisdiction, and you'll drive through 2 or 3 getting there. And there have been bills that have been introduced in the past to make one common set of laws for the whole state of Nebraska to eliminate that. So you might be compliant at your, where you live, but not in the next town over or whatever. So, all right. But what it says is Nebraska law is silent on loaded fire or loaded handguns in a vehicle.
So if you're visiting your friend in Nebraska and he says, "Hey, can you get my AR-15 out of the back seat of my Jeep?" and it's just laying there loaded with no case or nothing, don't be shocked. Be happy. That's freedom.
I had the safety on. There's nothing to worry about. You would have been fine.
I'm not worried if it's loaded. I know how to check it.
Oh, yeah,
I
exactly.
know that, that's kind of like you don't hand somebody a knife with the blade out.
The look on your face when you said, "Where's the case?" And I said, "Why?" It was just priceless. It was really priceless. Where's the case? Why? Why would I
So
want to case it? I need it handy so I can use it.
so
What?
to my point, because the law does not say that you cannot carry a loaded firearm in a vehicle, then you can carry a loaded firearm in a vehicle here. Unless, now, these are game and parks laws, not just general Nebraska laws, but you cannot have a loaded shotgun in a vehicle, it says. And then also, you cannot have any loaded firearm on a snowmobile, which includes concealed carry. You cannot concealed carry a loaded firearm on a snowmobile. I don't know why those are singled out different than an ATV or a UTV or anything else, but I'm sure when that law was passed, they had reasons for it. If you have a firearm on a snowmobile, it's got to be unloaded in a case. Other than that, if it's a vehicle, if it's a loaded AR or AK or whatever on the back seat, it's not concealed, then it's not illegal.
So
It's a thing of beauty.
It's a thing of beauty.
according to the game laws, you could have a loaded rifle in your vehicle, but not a loaded shotgun.
That is correct. Although I'm curious because when we were in Omaha on Sunday, Sandhills Sweetheart was taking her concealed carry class. And one of the things that was mentioned there was you cannot have a loaded rifle in your vehicle. So the people that are hunting and don't unload their rifle before they get in the vehicle are breaking the law. And that then the instructor said, yes, that is correct. So now I'm curious, because if that's what the instructor says, it's not how I read it in the laws. So now I'm going to have to actually discuss this with the game warden and find out the truth, so that we can report back and say, okay, the game warden, we will trust that person's take on it, and we'll act accordingly. Because I have, hopefully that I'm not incriminating myself, but I have had a loaded rifle during deer season in my vehicle. The only thing that I've ever found in my big game guide is that it is illegal to shoot from a moving vehicle. It's not even illegal to shoot from a vehicle if it's parked. It's illegal to hunt the right of way. You can't road hunt in Nebraska. You have to be off the road, but you can. You just can't shoot from a moving vehicle. So no chasing the deer or chasing the coyotes and shooting at them from over top of the roll cage, I guess.
So okay, now one more time. What was the specific thing that the instructor said was illegal? It was what with what loaded firearms for what now?
Having a loaded rifle in the vehicle if you're hunting.
If you're hunting, having a loaded rifle in the vehicle.
If you're hunting or just at all.
No, you can have a loaded rifle in Nebraska. You can have one in the chamber.
Not according to Trevor.
Now, I'm really curious about that snowmobile thing. Now, do you guys have, like, when I lived up in Wisconsin, the big thing was that people get on their snowmobiles and they go from bar to bar. You guys get that in Nebraska a lot too?
I've never actually seen a person on a snowmobile in Nebraska in my entire life.
Oh, I have. I know people with snowmobiles.
Well, I wasn't in the zone where we had enough snow for it, but yeah.
But yeah, typically there's not. Now, this year we did finally have enough snow that some people did get their snowmobiles out. Snowmobiles are kind of like boats from the way I understand it. They're just a money pit.
Mm-hmm.
But some people love them. But snowmobiling isn't as common here as it is in the northern South Dakota, the North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan. I know snowmobiles are way more prevalent there than in Nebraska. But yeah, Seven Wonders, I'm sorry. Drive-bys are illegal. Can't help you.
Well, we have them in Nebraska whenever a deer hunter misses, That's
yes,
a redneck drive-by for us, but yeah.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, now I need to actually contact Game and Parks and find out the actual truth of that, because the big game guide says, in my opinion, or from the way I read it, it says one thing. That instructor's saying something different. So we're going to find out from a game warden what actually is the case.
Do it now. We'll wait.
Nobody's in the office right now, so you'll have to wait. Sorry. And Too Hottie, I see what you say out there. Sometimes the CCW classes instructors don't have all the right info, but this is somebody that Travis and I know, and she knows her stuff. So I'm not going to just discount what she's saying either. And she may be more up on current laws than I am. So I'm going to find out for sure before I just tell her that she's full of hot air there. So, all right. So now let's go back around the horn, and because we did have shoot, I can't remember who asked it now. Somebody was wanting to know about our EDC, and I forget now who it was that
was
that asked
Gung Ho.
that. It was Gung Ho. Thank you. That's right. Everybody's favorite bald Marine. Okay, so we're just going to go through and tell everybody what our EDC is. And not just a firearm, especially in Kingpin's case where he doesn't get to EDC a firearm outside his house. But we'll just go through and tell everybody what we normally carry every day. When you get ready to leave and go to work or go someplace, what are the things that you have to take with you? So we'll start over here with Travis. What is your EDC loadout?
It's for the last couple months. It's been the Ruger EC9S. Just trigger on, it's nice and smooth. It's very accurate, very low recoil, 8-round capacity, but I always have a spare mag or 2 on me all times. Holster is the Hidden Hybrid Holsters inside waistband, outside waistband holster. It's really comfortable. I've been kind of breaking this one in for quite a while. I can't obviously EDC at work. I'm a high school teacher, so it doesn't happen. Someday, maybe legally, I'll be able to do that and defend my life. But yeah. So no, that's my. And before that, I had a car CT9 that I daily carried for probably 2 years.
You mean a Glock 48?
What? No, it was the car CT9.
Well, it looked like a Glock 48 to me.
Well, who copied who? I rest my case, Your Honor. So before that, it was the Sky CPX2, and before that, it was a FN9C, which was just too chunky for me to carry. So, yeah.
Got it. So, well, besides your firearm, what else do you carry with you every day?
Again, being a public high school teacher, I can't have a knife on me, but I always have. This was sent to me by, I think, Mel the Nut. It's that Kershaw designed by Emerson.
Oh, nice.
And I like this one because when you pull it out of your pocket, this catches on your pocket. This catches on your back part of your pocket, and it flings open automatically. The little hook will catch the back. If you pull back, that little hook right there will catch on your pants, and it flicks it open as you pull it out. So you don't have to worry about hitting a button or moving it, or actually, as soon as you pull it out, it flips open. So, you got to be careful if you're being disarmed by, say, law enforcement or medical. They need to understand when they pull that knife out, it's going to bring the blade out automatically if they pull it at the right angle. So it's been a great little knife, though. It's just, I think Mel got it on clearance at Walmart probably 2 years ago. So
nice. Very cool.
Yep. I mean, I got various flashlights. I did a whole, what do you call it? Like EDC of my school bag of all the stuff I have with me for school. So I kind of went through all the stuff they carry on me all the time. So, yeah.
Awesome. All right.
Yep.
All right, Obnoxious. What is your EDC loadout?
Just my bad attitude.
Yeah. That's all you need, huh?
Yep. Oh, usually I've got my P320, except now I've got the Alien Gear holster that I'm trying out. So I'm carrying a Glock 19 for the next month or so.
Which holster from them?
The core carry pack. So I'm just running it on waistband.
On waistband? Okay. Yeah. The belt slide or the paddle?
The belt slide. They actually sent me a spare shell for my P365, so I've got that in the paddle right now, and I've been wearing that around out in the yard when I'm doing that because I can hook that paddle onto anything that I'm wearing. Mm-hmm. Unless I'm porky pigging, then we have issues. It's a little tight. It's a little tight if you.
They have a new option for that now that they just released.
Oh, the ankle holster or the shoulder rig?
The belly band holster.
Oh, they really.
It's designed for wearing with like sweatpants or basketball shorts or something like that don't have a waistband that you can wear a belt with. So you put the belly band on and use your IWB holster with it, and then just put your sweats or whatever on over top. So
So I've been carrying the Glock 19 for the last few days with that. Then I've got a knife with me and a spare mag, my wallet, my cell phone, keys if I'm taking the truck. If I'm on the bike, then the keys are usually in the bike, so they'll automatically come with me.
Sure. Gotcha.
But and yeah, I've got if I don't take a flashlight, I've got one in my dump drawer up there. If I don't grab the flashlight out of that, I've got a flashlight in the truck. I've got one in each of the bikes. I've got one, in the wife's car. So there's always a flashlight available, and there's always a spare gun available if we're in a vehicle.
Awesome. All right, Kingpin, I know you're in a unique situation where you don't get to carry a firearm every day. So what do you carry with you every day?
I usually just carry some type of flipper knife, and then maybe I've got a few other tricks up my sleeve, but for the most part, I just have a flipper knife.
By flipper knife, you mean something with a little tab on the back of it that you just flip that down and the blade opens?
Yeah, not automatic. Like you've got to flip it with your finger.
Mm-hmm.
But the automatic knives and switchblades are illegal. But pretty much any other type of blade, sword, whatever kind of stabbing, cutting implement you want, you can carry here.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So then, any kind of flashlight or anything like that?
Yeah, I carry a book bag with me everywhere I go.
Okay.
So it's got all my necessities, lights, band-aids, other things that I carry with me every day.
Very cool. That's not actually a bad idea. Okay, Gizzard, what's your everyday carry loadout down where you are?
Well, I carry a Glock 42 in a DeSantis Nemesis pocket holster. And let's see, I've got my tactical Apple AirPods that I carry with me and at all times.
Are those the new tactical accessory? The AirPods?
Well, I'll show you here. I've got this little rubber case that goes over them that has a carabiner on it so I can clip it to a belt loop.
That's awesome.
And so that makes it a little bit easier. That way I don't have to lose it in my pocket or whatever. Other than that, when I'm going to work, I have to go kind of light because I'm not allowed to carry anything I don't need for work and run it through our metal detectors. So knives and stuff like that and, multi-tools are highly discouraged unless you work in that field. And since I'm an office worker, it doesn't really. In fact, I split my key. My key ring's actually two different rings. I've got the keys I use at work and what I need to get into my car, and then the rest of them go in the glove box when I leave.
Okay.
So I have to come fairly minimalist into work. So that and the iPhone, which I always have with me.
Sure.
And that's pretty much it.
Alrighty. Frankie, what do you take with you all the time?
I have my first aid kit that I've been building, so I've got tourniquets and bandages and that kind of stuff. I have a pen that's tactical. It has a pointy end to it, so you can, John Wick stabs Muddy in the eyeball. And I have my SIG.
The views and opinions expressed by the panelists do not reflect the views and opinions of Sandhills Shooter, Sandhills Sweetheart, or anybody involved with our channel. We do not condone stabbing anybody in the eye. John Wick is a movie. Okay, go ahead.
I have my SIG 380 that's in my picture here. I'll probably be changing out my gun to the Glock that I bought once I get comfortable with it.
And you didn't get to see it before we went live, but Frankie showed us her new addition to the family. You want to tell everybody what that is?
Yep, it is a Glock 43X.
So it's a Glock 43 with a handle that doesn't conceal. I'm sorry, that came out loud. I'm sorry.
Well,
Just whatever you do, don't do a video on how bad they did with the Glock 43X because you will hear about it for months.
Come on now, John. You and I can purse carry like it's nobody's business.
Yeah, that's true. No, I'm just giving you crap. I know that a lot of people were really looking for something like that. So for the people that enjoy the Glock 43X, I'm not going to say that that you shouldn't have that. That's awesome that you found something that you like, and it's thinner probably than your SIG, right?
It is. And it's a little bit more lightweight. And so it's hard to believe, but I can't figure that one out. It's definitely lighter than my my other SIG that I got recently. So right now I'm just working on the whole holster thing. We were talking about if I would be comfortable with the inside the waistband holster or outside. I've decided that I like the outside better. It's because I wear a little bit more tighter fitting pants. It's not something that's comfortable to me. So we've got a couple of different brands that we're looking at right now.
Well, and not being female, I can't obviously give any advice specifically, but for anybody, doesn't matter what gender you are, what age you are, experience level or size you are, try holsters. Try more than one. Try lots of holsters. Find the one that fits the best. Find the one that is so comfortable that you don't leave your gun home. That's going to be the right one. So heck yeah, you're doing it right. Try a couple different ones. Out in the chat real quick before we move on, Frankie, Seven Wonders is wanting to know who your husband is and if he has a channel.
It's Rob C. Technically, he does have a channel. He's uploaded a few videos over the years, but he's not like an active, I want to be a YouTuber person.
Sometimes we do see Rob C out in the chat here. Even when Frankie's in the panel, sometimes Rob's out here holding it down in the chat too. But I don't see him tonight, so he must not be with us.
No, he's at the shop doing his second job, being a good husband.
Being a good husband and keeping the money coming in so you can buy more guns. I get it. Cool guy. But yeah, Seven Wonders, Frankie's husband is really cool. And he doesn't like to be in the panel, but sometimes he'll jump in and talk when Frankie's in here with us. So you can still hear from him sometimes. All right. And then last but not least, if I remember right, Squib, you have said that you're currently not carrying because you let your permit go, unless that's changed. But what do you carry with you every day?
Yeah, this is kind of an unusual question. When somebody says EDC, I think it implies like a gun, maybe spare magazine or speed loader, a tactical flashlight, and some sort of knife. I mean, people have brought up a lot of common everyday things that I guess I just don't think of as EDC. Even when I had a concealed pistol license, I didn't carry every day. It's just not that big of a deal to me. Besides, a lot of places that I was at, like work, they frowned upon you bringing a gun into work. And, I used to live at work. So it's really kind of just not a thing. So, I mean, what's in my pockets? I always make sure I bring my ID with me. I know that there are people that say you don't have to tell the police who you are or whatever it is, and they make a big deal out of it. My thing is, I got nothing to hide. This is here. There's my identity. Look me up. You're not going to find anything because I'm not a criminal. So I make sure I bring my ID with me. At least one credit card because, well, it's a credit card. I've got a really cool flashlight that a good friend of mine gave me that works much better than any other EDC flashlight I've had up to date. I carry a Leatherman Wave, and it's not a weapon; it's a tool. Just because it's got a knife blade on it, I'm going to use my fist before I pull this thing out. But I use the screwdriver on it constantly. So the pliers and the screwdriver at work or at home, I mean, everywhere. Let's see. Truck keys, work keys, a notepad and a pen. What else have I got in my Carmex? because you gotta have lip balm.
Gotta have
Oh
lip balm.
God, yeah, chapstick, baby.
Yeah, and I've got a Samsung Droid phone, and Gary brought up the earbuds. Yeah, I've got earbuds on right now. I always have earbuds with a 90-degree angle plug and a mic on the cord. So I try to make sure I have earbuds with me in case I go live. I didn't even think about that, so I'm glad he brought that up. Yeah, I guess that's it. I mean, no IFAC, no tourniquet, none of that stuff. I mean, if that's what somebody wants to carry, they can carry it. I don't, you know. When I did conceal carry, I carried a Beretta M9, and I didn't carry a spare mag because 15's plenty. That's kind of part of the reason I carried it, so I didn't have to haul around a spare mag. I mean, some people keep 3 spare mags. Hey, if you got room for it, go for it. So.
Cool. All right. And then myself, I've actually still got my holster on because I love this thing. It is so comfortable that I generally don't take it off until I go to bed. So I'm not going to unholster because this is hot. But I've got my shield on with my alien gear inside the waistband. Obnoxious, when you get over to start using the 4.0, I really want to know your take on this one because this is hands down the most comfortable holster I own, and I've got the drawer full. And those of you who've been carrying very long, you have a drawer or a box full of holsters. And with that, because it's a shield, it doesn't hold very many rounds, 7 in the magazine, 1 in the pipe. And so I've got my sticky holster mag pouch with my extended mag in that one. I like the sticky holster pouch because this one fits the spare mag for any gun pretty much. So if I'm carrying the Glock, then I can still carry a spare mag. It goes right in my my offhand front pocket, and I've practiced, drawing my magazine out and doing a reload. And I'm not a tactical reloader kind of guy. It's not like I can reload in 2 seconds or under 2 seconds, but I can reach right in, grab this, the holster stays put, the magazine comes out, and do my reload. So I have done that, and I know it works. Then I usually have some sort of knife when I'm at work. Lately, I've just been carrying my my Outdoor Edge. I can't even remember now. It's a mini grip, I think it's called, but it's just a little dude for opening up boxes and things like that is what I use that for. Sometimes I do have a couple knives that I've never used to open boxes or cut tape or anything with them. And I keep them just in case I go someplace where I can't have a firearm, but I can have a knife. I like to have something. I'd rather have it and not need it. The same thing with my spare mag. Squib, you're right. Chances are 15 is going to be enough, but it fits in my pocket, so I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. I'm working on a light. I do a lot of things at work that I could use a little pen light sized flashlight. Right now, because I've always got my phone. I sell phones for a living. I've always got this with me, but I do have. I've got my Samsung here, but it's got the light on it. And then if I try to, somebody brings a phone, they're having issues with their charging port, and I go to look in it. I can light it up with my phone flashlight, and then my phone's in the way, and I can't see what's on the other side. So I'm working on finding a good light that'll work not just for things like that, but it's bright enough that I can use it. I can use it for other reasons too. That's got a pocket clip that won't break, something like that. So anybody wants to suggest good
light,
good lights that aren't super big around. I don't want it much bigger around than one of my fingers. A good clip that won't break. Just get on Facebook, or Squib, you have my number, so you can text me because I know you don't Facebook. But send those suggestions to me on Facebook, facebook.com/SandhillsShooter. I'd like to know what everybody suggests, and I can check some stuff out. I'm not spending a ton of money. It's definitely going to be under $100 and hopefully a lot less than that.
Oh yeah. So the one that Squib's talking about is the Olight M1T. I think it's 30.
Oh really?
And the other one that I really like is I got a Maglite LED little pin light that takes a AAA, and that little sucker's perfect for small jobs. And that was like 15.
That little solitaire that they sell?
Yeah, the little one. Yeah, no, it's not even the one that takes the 2 AA's. It's just the smallest
Right.
one you can get. That you can actually light up, a small room with it. I mean, it's great. But the Olight has such a nice, clean beam. I mean, Squib could,
Yeah,
forklift could probably tell you,
I've
yeah.
been putting this through its paces, and I would never buy a flashlight like this on my own. So thanks, Travis, because now I want to get a second one.
Yeah. Well, they
But
go on sale
I've
quite a
been
bit too. Yeah.
okay. All right, I didn't know that either. Yeah, the first thing about it is it's smaller than what I was carrying before. I don't have to use a pouch anymore, and I don't have to worry about having 16 different modes of operation. It's just on and bright, and that's all I need.
That is another one of my requisites. It's going to be just on and off, no other options. I don't need 3 different light levels. I just want.
Yep.
I want bright for the size. I don't, I want it to be bright enough that if I shine it at somebody's face, they can't see.
Oh, that'll happen. You guys should check out my review on that flashlight. I have one too.
I'll have to do that. You're right, Squib. I can't see you.
Okay, there you go.
No, I'm gonna check that one out. If it's only $30, then that's a pretty good. That's a pretty good. Selling point.
I've been shooting some footage, and I might put together a review video. I'm not sure yet. It's got a few downsides, but compared to, and I was using $10 and $15 EDCs because if I lose them, break them, whatever, I'm only out 10 or $15. That's why I said I wouldn't normally buy a light like this, right? But the downsides for those were, for me, worse than the downsides for this. I'll deal with the downsides of this because the upsides are so much better, if that makes any sense.
No, it does. It does. All right. Well, I think we're losing people left and right in the chat. We're losing people from the panel. We don't have Kingpin anymore. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up, and we'll let everybody say goodnight. I see that Gun Channels, again, didn't refresh for me because I just refreshed the page, and I've got all these comments out in the Gun Channels chat that I hadn't seen from, looks like mostly Kingpin and Dead Horse. So I apologize for not keeping up with those because we've got Dead Horse out there. We had David out there. G-Webs was in the house for a little bit, and Gary was there and here. Gung Ho was there and in the YouTube chat. And Flathmaster was there too. So welcome everybody, and thanks for hanging out with us over on the Gun Channel side. Now on the YouTube side, the list is coming. We'll let everybody say goodnight. So let's start with Forklift Guy, a.k.a. Squib, and let everybody say goodnight here before I go through the list.
Good night.
Good night. Thanks for being here. Frankie, anything you want to plug?
Just my channel. Go ahead out and check out Frankie's Guns and Glitters. We got great reviews, flashlights, guns, holsters coming up. All kinds of fun things happening.
All right, and that answers the question Rich Parth had out in the chat. It is Frankie's Guns and Glitter. And Frankie, if you want to put a link to your channel out in the chat, go ahead and do that if you are able to do so. Otherwise, we'll get somebody else to post it. Okay, Gizzard Gary, thanks for being here with us.
Hey, thanks for having me. Check out my website at gizzardgary.com. Have a program, Foul Territory, Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and then Sunday mornings we have the Early Bird Chat, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. Thanks for having me. Thanks for putting on a great show every week. Appreciate it, man.
Well, thank
Give
you.
him a bird.
Thanks for making us feel good. And yes, give him the bird. Okay. And we've got Obnoxious One. Thanks for being here tonight.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I'd just like to send a big shout out to Midnight Range. He's a great guy. I am saying this completely of my own volition. I have not been told to say this or I would suffer a death in the family. This is completely something I am saying on my own.
So what you're saying is you lost a bet.
No, I am saying that he is really a great guy. Oh, check out my channel, Obnoxious One. I didn't put out anything yesterday because I've spent the last 2 days trying to get my little Easy Go workhorse out of the silt because I went too far to check the creek, and yeah, that was not fun. 90-degree weather, and I'm out there with a ratchet strap and cranking that thing. I had to haul it like 15 feet. So I got it stuck real good this time.
Wow.
So I'm gonna get some stuff edited, get it up on Thursday, and I'm not sure if Sarge is having a Thursday night show yet. So I may be on Thursday, I may be on Saturday. Just keep an eye on it.
All right. Sounds great, and thanks for being here. For those of you who aren't aware, Obnoxious and Midnight Range have a love-hate relationship. They do love to hate on each other. We all know that it's actually a bromance, and one day they're going to hug it out. We all know that, but it's okay. It's kind of like one of those things where when you were in grade school and you threw a snowball at the girl that you really liked, and then you told her that she was ugly and you hated her, but secretly you really liked her. It's kind of like that, I think.
Hold their pigtails.
Yeah, like that. You guys pull each other's pigtails.
Yeah, Midnight Range could never mind. I'll keep PG here.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, moving right along. Travis, thanks for being here.
Well, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, man. Hey, I appreciate the invite. Thank you so much. I will have more range views coming up when it stops raining. I've been rained out now twice now. So
if it ever stops, just get some frog pogs.
About 48 hours of straight rain. And the weather's never consistent here in Nebraska, but I will be getting out there. We got a lot of guns to take out. It's ridiculous.
Here's the thing, Travis. If it won't run in the rain, I ain't buying it. So I want to see how it runs in the rain.
Well, but part of
you're waterproof.
No.
The filming aspect is not easy.
I want to know exactly when.
What's that?
Sorry,
You muted yourself there, Squib. What were you saying?
Yeah, that's. I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, no, it's all good. No, I'm just saying it's hard to film when it's raining out. It's hard for me to not get my camera equipment wet. So like a lot of times I'm filming out of the back of the Jeep, but when I want to do things like, certain range tests and stuff, I can't film. So it's not that I don't want to shoot now. I'd shoot anything. I don't care, but filming is not quite so much fun. So, but anyway, yeah, appreciate the invite, man. Thank you so much. And do you guys make sure you check out Caliber Corner Thursday nights, 5 to 7 Central, 6 to 8 East Coast time over on gunchannels.com. And subscribe to everybody here on the panel that you've listened to this evening. They got great channels with a lot of content. So
absolutely.
Thanks, man.
Okay, and then out in the YouTube chat, I've got the official list compiled here. I didn't do the compilation, by the way. But we had Stephen Brown, Seven Wonders, Frankie's Guns and Glitter, Adam Jimenez, Jason Stewart, Rich Parth, Freedom for All, SS Pawn, Calaveras 32 Special, Two Live Moo, Tim Foley, Gun Love and Grandpa, Midnight Range, Joe Ziola, Gung Ho 1345, which I don't think I've seen you yet in here, Gung Ho, so welcome and thanks for being here. Rob D, New York Outcast, Travis T, The Gun Snob, 50 Cal, Gizzard Gary, Obnoxious, Local 223, Ghost was in here. Travis T got on the list twice because he's cool like that, I guess. Hap was here. Kingpin was here. Double A was here. I didn't say hi, but hi, Double A. SCH Studios was in the house. Also a new name that I don't think I've seen before. So welcome. Kinky Sphincter. It's just a fun name to say. Google 5 Dancing Israelis. I'm not saying to do it. That's just the channel name. Blue Steel 44. Snob's Wife 76. Grim 90. I didn't see you, Grim. Howdy. Night Strike was in the house. Sam of Anarchy, formerly Night Wolf, was in the house. Rupan was in the house. I haven't seen a lot of these names. Didn't see them come through. Rupan, Zippy, Dead Horse, Philo, Gunpowder Beauty, Mike was here. William Keller, The Poor Conservative, Too Hottie, Rob C did make an appearance out in the chat. And Squibload did make an appearance in the chat as well. So thanks, everybody, for joining us. Next week is going to be the final Tuesday of the month again. So we will not have the panel chat, although we talked about this earlier tonight when we were eating supper. And last month's last Tuesday of the month chat where we didn't have the panel. We just did Q&A. There was a lot of chat going on, but not really any of it directed towards us. And it was great to be a forum where people could talk to each other. But the whole point of that is that we get to talk to you and you get to talk to us. So we'll see how this month goes next week. But if there's not a whole lot of interest in actually just talking to us, asking us questions, whatnot, then we maybe will discontinue doing that, or maybe we'll move it over to just on Facebook or something like that. We'll see what happens. But we'll see how it goes. But we really do want to hear from you. We want to have some back and forth with you in a way that we don't get to do it when we have a panel discussion. So that's why we decided on that format for the last Tuesday of the month, which is going to be next week. After that, we've got a couple things in the works. We want to have a discussion about situational awareness and never getting yourself into a position where you have to ever pull out your firearm and use it. We want to talk about here in coming weeks, we're going to have a discussion about the best guns to use as vehicle guns, things that aren't super expensive. So if your vehicle does get, somebody breaks into it and steals your gun, you're not out, $1,000 gun or something like that. So you guys can all be thinking about some of those things. And anybody that wants to suggest chat topics, again, the easiest way for me to find all these, you can email us at sandhillsshooter@gmail.com, or you can just go over, follow us, like us on Facebook, and then message us on there. And that's actually one of the best ways to do it. Or message us on YouTube, because you can do that now. You can send direct messages to people. So you can catch us all those places, and just let us know some of the things that you might want to have a discussion. I don't want this to become something where we just go around the room and talk about, well, this is my favorite gun, milsurp, and this is my favorite thing for for deer. That's good, and I'm not saying those aren't valid chats, but other people do that already, and so I don't want to do what everybody else does. If we're going to talk about a milsurp gun, I want to go around the horn and actually find out why everybody likes the gun that they like, or whatever, what it is about that gun. They saw it in a movie, or their granddad carried one, or their dad carried one, or they carried one, something like that. So it's not just about the gun, it's about the story behind the story, I guess, sometimes. And that's what we want to get into here. So feel free to give us your suggestions. Other than that, I think that's all I have to say. I want to thank Walk the Talk America for everything that they do, and you can go back on a previous. I'd have to find the number of the chat. But we talked about mental health. We had Michael Sodini, the founder of Walk the Talk America, on with us, and you can go there. You can give, for not a lot of money donation. They'll give you a bracelet that you can put on, and when people ask you about it, you actually get to tell them there's an organization that is out there for the people that they're at the end of the rope. They don't know where to turn. They don't know who to talk to. There are people out there. So, and having said that, there it is. I picked these up this week. I was at Omaha Gun Club, and I picked these up too. This is just basic rules of firearm safety. I grabbed a couple of these because when we have giveaways, I think one of those is going to go in some prizes too. But I also picked up a couple of these, and I want to mention this too. Now, this is not Walk the Talk America, although they do have people that you can get a hold of if you go to WTTA.org. But this is a little card, and it just says, I'll hold this up here, hopefully you can read it. In crisis, text hello to 741-741. And they've got people there 24/7. It's free. It's confidential. You text them. You don't have to talk to anybody face-to-face or on the phone. You can just text them. And if you can see that, that's kind of a sample conversation. So there you go. But I found this and I thought that's really cool, because some people don't want to make that call. Some people aren't in a place where they can actually talk out loud and they're having an issue. So you can just text that person. You don't have to worry about waking anybody up and being a pain in the butt in the middle of the night. Although I know Sandhills Sweetheart feels the same way, and I think most of our panel does too. If anybody needs to get a hold of me and talk. I don't care if you wake me up at 3 a.m. I would much rather be a little bit grumpy because I got woke up in the middle of the night than be a lot sad because I found out the next day that somebody did something bad. So, with that said, we love you and God bless you all. And you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday night. And remember, get off my lawn.
Adios, Felicia.
And adios, Felicia.
Give 'em